Hey guys, so we're on the verge of Secrets of Dumbledore coming out, and I'm not feeling that great. Because while I'm excited to finally get a new installment in the lore of Harry Potter, I don't feel all that good about where we left off. Because the truth is that Crimes of Grindelwald seemingly retconned quite a few things in order for the story to progress. And while I presented some pretty good theories that I think really do hold up, it's pretty likely that in Secrets of Dumbledore that's all just going to get thrown out, and instead we're going to get completely new reasons that explain certain things. And yet, I still insist on getting at least one thing right. But luckily, the Secrets of Dumbledore trailer actually proves something that hasn't been confirmed until now. And that's that Dumbledore knew about the Room of Requirement this entire time. Here we go. The Room of Requirement, a giant magical MacGuffin in itself. The room literally can do whatever you want it to do, and it really seems like there's almost no end to the level of power this room has. Except of course that it's still bound by the elemental laws of transfiguration and can't seemingly produce food. But all the way back in Deathly Hallows, something truly bizarre happened because of this room. While we've seen this room being able to transform into large open spaces that Dumbledore's army needed in order to train, or the giant collection of hidden objects that Malfoy used in order to work on the Vanishing Cabinet. In Deathly Hallows, the Room of Requirement does something that it's never done before, and that it actually creates an entire passage all the way out of the school. And while this room has always just been extremely convenient for the sake of the plot, this time it actually goes above and beyond. Because now not only is its magic contained to within the room, but it's actually interfacing with another part of the real world. It's not only just a real part of Hogwarts, it's interacting with a pub all the way in Hogsmeade, well outside the boundaries of the school. Which has long since led to the question, could the Room of Requirement have led anywhere? I mean, if it wanted to, the Room of Requirement could just send people out to Switzerland for all it cared. But the passage it creates is more than simply convenient, because it's just far too convenient. See, not only does the room create a passage out of the school, it creates a passage to a pub, in which case the hidden members of Dumbledore's army can actually obtain food. And not just any pub, because if this passage led to 3 broomsticks, probably things wouldn't have went too well for them. But it leads to the exact pub that is owned and curated by Aberforth Dumbledore, one of the DA's last remaining outside allies. See, the books led people to believe that Dumbledore didn't actually know about the Room of Requirement. At very least, not until Harry is using it in his 5th year. When Dumbledore first mentions the Room of Requirement, he basically says that he found it once and he's never found it again. But what Dumbledore fails to remind us is that he is a huge liar.
What makes you think you can trust him? What makes you think you can believe anything my brother told you?
We've definitely talked about this before, but the fact is, Dumbledore is lying about pretty much every little detail he gives out in the series. And most of these, maybe we're being too harsh on him because they're mostly not lies outright, they're basically just jokes. But irregardless, this has always led us to question if Dumbledore was actually telling the truth. And what Secrets of Dumbledore has confirmed is that Dumbledore has known about the Room of Requirement this whole time. I mean, obviously, right? It's Dumbledore. We see towards the end of the trailer that Dumbledore goes into the Room of Requirement in order to use this bell-shaped thing that's kind of a multi-use portkey, but more importantly, it is 100% in the Room of Requirement. And as this movie takes place well before the events of the Harry Potter series, we have complete proof that Dumbledore has known about this room this entire time.
What is this place? The room we require.
And that leads us to the passage to the Hog's Head. Because just like Dumbledore knew about the Room of Requirement, I believe he also knew about this secret passageway. You see, why do secret passageways exist in the first place? I mean, it's all fun and games that Fred and George and then Harry seem to use the passages whenever they want. You know, it's a cool way to sneak over to the local town and get candy whenever they want. But is that really the point of secret passageways? No, of course not. The point of secret passages is to be able to get people in and out of the castle without anyone noticing. And Hogwarts was constructed 1,000 years ago for one exact purpose. I mean, to educate people, obviously. But besides that reason, Hogwarts was made so that wizards and witches could avoid persecution. And you know what's important in avoiding persecution? The ability to escape if they get attacked. This is actually exactly what they use the Hogshead Passage for in Deathly Hallows. Because after they initially use it in order to sneak into the castle, they're able to use the same passageway to sneak all the underage children out of Hogwarts and away from the battle. And the passage to the Hogshead is particularly unique, because while there are 7 other passages that lead out of the school, all of those are fallible in a way. All of those passages are always accessible, and people can know about them. And a huge threat to the school could always be what happens in the case where the person who's attacking the school already knows about these passageways. And that's why it's so important to have a backup plan. A secret passageway that only appears when people desperately require it. A passageway hidden in the Room of Requirement. But that's all said and good. Why is it that I think that Albus knew about this passage the whole time? I mean, besides the fact that he is the most powerful wizard of all time. And the reason for that is simple. Aberforth. You see, Aberforth is working over at the Hogshead pub, and he plays a very critical role. See, Aberforth allows people to undergo really shady deals in his pub. He basically has a small black market running in his own place of business. But how did Aberforth get such a prestigious job in the first place? The Hogshead pub is very, very old, and Aberforth hasn't had that great of a history. The books really confirm that Aberforth is basically just a pretty run-of-the-mill wizard.
Well, I certainly knew him the longest. That is, if you don't count his brother Aberforth, and somehow people never do seem to count Aberforth.
And with the trouble he got into the law over enchanting some goats, which I'm hoping was totally PG-13 because I don't want to think about, it seems unlikely that Aberforth would be able to secure such a prestigious job, unless someone helped him get that job. Someone with a lot of power in the Hogwarts area. Obviously his big brother Albus. And so despite the fact that Aberforth had suffered an embarrassing scandal in the newspapers because of his goatly ways, Albus could help secure him a job in Hogsmeade because of his position with the school. And Albus, being who he is, could find him the perfect job for him. A job where all he would have to do is be a casual bartender and casually watch over the secret passageway that led into Hogwarts, that only would appear when people have desperate need of it. And it's because of Aberforth's willingness to allow shady deals to go on in his place of business, it guarantees that pretty much no matter what happens to Hogwarts, Aberforth's pub will never get shut down. It won't get shut down, and he'll be allowed to retain control of this pub the whole time, ensuring the perpetual safety of this secret passageway. And while Aberforth's role in the upcoming movie is still a bit unclear, one thing is absolutely certain, that Dumbledore has known about the Room of Requirement this entire time, and that Aberforth working at the Hogshead is no coincidence. Anyways, guys, that's just what I'm thinking. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!